Hello and welcome to a game of Ice and Fire. When last we left off, the envoys from Skrel Island and their new friends in the court of House Tyde made their way back from the Outer Wood to Tyde Hall. Upon returning, they learned that Sir Byron Rock also had men loyal to him in the barracks, and some fighting had broken out. Sir Jared Lightfoot was able to suppress the insurrection, and with Lord Camren Tyde returned to the seat of his power, it seems that, for the moment, the machinations of Lazoros Dranatus have come to a standstill. With Lazoros fled to the free city of Mir, Lord Camren held a feast where he honored all of his guests with gifts. And that feast ended in a toast, and that is where I will bring everyone in. Hello and welcome everyone. I want to start off by doing something that I know he will hate and wishing our boy Colin here a happy birthday.
You're a motherfucker.
That's right. Happy birthday, Colin!
Yeah, today is his
Happy birthday,
actual
bud.
birthday, so we'll do it
Too
we'll do it
fucking
live
kind.
on stream. So, happy birthday!
Luckily, we
And,
got gifts last session, so
yeah,
that's already taken
hopefully-
care of.
Hopefully your gift will keep you alive. All right, so we ended with the toast.
Rather ominous.
Does anyone have anything that they wish to do before retiring for the evening?
I'm ready to retire. Oh wait,
As am I.
in the game. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I don't want to do it.
Who's ready to go to bed?
Poor Martan is
I'm always ready to go to
his
bed.
share.
Always ready for bed. All right. Well, we will move past the night. You guys get a restful, slightly drunken night of sleep if you partook. Safe in the confines of Tyde Hall. The next morning, you awake refreshed. And what would you like to do with your day? What is on the agenda?
We will be getting our stuff together and getting on the ship soon, so that.
All right. Is there anything else that you want to do before saying your farewells?
Oh. Um. Yes.
I don't have anything in particular. I mean, saying goodbye to our night friends obviously would be on my list of things I would want to do.
All right.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, after getting a short breakfast, you are able to kind of make the rounds. Lord Camren is with you at the breakfast table, so he shares pleasantries over the morning and kind of asks you about your plans, how the ship, how long the journey will take, kind of, what route you'll take, that kind of thing. And before you guys leave to head to the barracks to meet with the new knights and say your farewells there, he says, young Lord Martan, it has been a pleasure hosting you. I know that we did not receive you warmly. I hope that you can forgive us that. I think our friendship here is growing strong. I look forward to see the fruits that this tree bears.
As I've said numerous times already, let's leave the past in the past and look towards the brighter future.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I won't keep you too long. I hope you have a safe voyage. Please send a raven once you arrive. Let us know that you have made it safely, and if there is anything that we can do to assist you in the future, please. We are only a short ship ride away. So,
Most
Farewell.
assuredly.
Farewell and safe voyage to you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and you are able to leave the hall and head over the short distance to the barracks, where you meet Sir Brandeth and Sir Sabbas going about their new duties as knights, kind of receiving some kind of nicer equipment, and taking up their new larger quarters that they have to themselves, being informed of their new duties. You kind of come to them when they're kind of in the midst of all of this, and both of them kind of wave you on in, and Sir Brandeth says, yes, Martan, Thali, Iron Hand, Sir Darren, Nicholas, it's good to see all of you again. I apologize, we won't have much time for you this morning, but it is good to see you off before you leave.
It's always a pleasure.
I know that we will meet again someday. Please do keep us apprised of the goings-on with Lazoros if you do end up tracking him down, or at least if you find out any word of his whereabouts. I think Sir Sabbas and I will be leading any sort of investigations on our end, so...
Oh, we shall. He made more than one enemy.
To say the least. Well, if we find him and we don't put the stomp into him ourselves, we'll be sure to let you know. I'm sure we'll have a fine story for you when next we come.
Good. I always look forward to your stories.
Have you gotten used to it yet?
No. The armor doesn't even fit, so no, it will take some getting used to.
Aye, heavier the shoulders that wear the mantle.
Yes, indeed. I'll have to take fewer flasks with me on my walks these days, but at least the extra responsibility comes with some luxuries. He kind of gestures over to his new quarters, so... But I want to thank you for all that you did in helping us.
Thali's already going in for like a handshake, pull into a hug.
Sir Brandeth quickly grasps your arm and goes in, joins you as well. Gives you the two pat on the back.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Just stands back, claps him on the shoulder, and just kind of nods his head, looks him in the eyes, and
Radova just kind of holds up his arm and clinks wrists with him. Take care of yourselves and your accommodations now. Try not to step too much further above. You never know when you might fall.
Yes, well, your visit certainly changed things for the better around here, so we look forward to seeing and hearing from you again soon.
Well, that's all we can ask, isn't it?
Stay safe on the seas.
Oh, we'll try.
Thank you.
And after everyone has made their final farewells, you are able to, with your belongings and your new horse, make your way down the path from the town of Arlon along the road to the Silver Moon Harbor, which still looks pretty run down and in disrepair. There are fewer House Tyde guards on the walkways than you remember before, but in general it feels a little bit less tense in the port as you make your way through.
okay.
The journey itself takes you kind of the better part of your morning into the afternoon a little ways. You're able to eat on the road. and on the same pier where you remember docking originally, you eventually come to the Gray Swallow.
Wait.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
is there more?
Yeah, before we get there, I assume we're traveling through. Are there like kind of people milling about?
Are you wanting to stop us in Arlon or in Silvermoon Harbor?
Arlen first.
All right. I mean, it's a town. You're leaving through the main hall, so as you leave town, yes, there are absolutely people. It's the morning, so people are going about kind of the morning routines. Yeah. What are you looking for?
Would there be?
I look over to Iron Hand and I say, I need the people's attention, if you would, please.
Radova kind of lifts an eyebrow, but shrugs and kind of straightens his back and rolls his shoulders a little bit, and does the thing that I cannot do, where he puts two fingers in his mouth and whistles just this sharp, shrill, disgustingly loud, warning whistle, but a whistle.
Do a little Foley work.
And yeah, there's no world in which I can do that. That's not a skill I possess, despite years of trying to learn it. And upon the ending of that, takes a deep breath and, "Hoy! Martan would have a word with the lot of you if you plan on listening."
Go ahead and make it'll be a persuasion test, but let's see. Yeah, may you what?
May I ask how Yak responds to this? Yak, of course, being the name of my hunting hawk.
To the whistle and the shrill yell?
Screaming.
Yeah, the
Yes.
screaming.
Important question. How do you spell yak?
Y. A. Is that A in sign language? K.
Yeah.
I always get A and S mixed up.
So just
Why,
like
okay.
the ant.
Just like the animal.
Right.
Yak.
Yak the hawk.
Yak the hawk.
I get it.
All right.
There's probably a way cooler name, but he's named after a hawk that's in Dimension 20, so.
I like
Fair
it.
enough.
I'm here for it. He responds, you see he has a hood over his
he's
eyes, but he
sure.
looks directly at Iron Hand when he whistles.
Cool.
But that's it. Doesn't scramble, doesn't jump.
Is he caged or is he on a caged?
There is a cage that you possess. There is also, with him comes a long leather gauntlet and some tassels and like a feed bag and the hood itself. All
Would there
the things
happen
that you
to
need.
be any openness nearby that I could let him out if if our Lord is going to be long-winded?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you are in a small town, fairly open. The buildings aren't super clumped together. You're out on the road, so it's a little bit more open. There are there's space to either side of the road before any of the buildings are there. So if you wanted to kind of let him fly around and circle around, or just kind of hop on the ground a little bit, then absolutely you can do that.
Depends on I'll let you know. I'll give you one of these or one of these, depending
All right.
on what Martan says next.
Okay, there we go. Everyone else, you notice that Iron Hand's call. Actually, we don't notice anything yet. Iron Hand, go ahead and make a persuasion roll. Do you have any bonuses in persuasion at all?
Sure
think
don't.
you don't. I don't think
Not
you
a
do, so
damn one.
I'm looking at the things that might help, and none of it's going to matter. So just go ahead and give me your persuasion test.
Oh no.
3.
A 3. Your whistle carries over the crowd, and you, after yelling your command to get everyone's attention, you see a lot of people kind of in the immediate vicinity turn and look and just give you a glare. Like, what are you doing? What? I have bread in my hands. What could possibly be so important? Let me go home. And most people just kind of continue walking around.
Radova just kind of shrugs and turns back to Martan. Getting people's attention that way was never my strong suit. If you'd like, I could go hit him, but I don't think that's going to give you the attention you're looking
No,
for.
that's fine. And then I kind of raise myself up and, good people! It's just as loud as I can.
All right, trying to get everyone's attention.
Yes.
All right, go ahead and make your own persuasion test. What bonuses do you have? Do you have anything that will help?
I only have bonuses in insight and taunt. So.
All right. Unless you're trying to get a different kind of response than what I'm anticipating, neither of those is really going to help you.
No, they're not.
So, persuasion test. Tell me what you get.
12.
A 12. All right.
Better than a 3.
At the, I mean, there are still quite a few people glaring. You've gathered people's attention, Radova, but nobody is looking too kindly at you. However, when young Martan steps up and begins to speak, just the nice clothing that he is wearing, the very fine horse that he has trailing him, and just the general air that he presents himself with, gets people to stop and start paying attention. Those immediately around you stop and are looking at you expectantly. Farther on, you see people just kind of slow down, but kind of take a look. You seem to have a good number of people's attention.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, forgive my boorish companion. Today is a day of celebration.
Holly just
Okay.
grins real hard at Radova when that happens.
I feel like I deserve that.
House Tyde and House Skrel have made amends. We're allies once again. It is certainly a time for celebration. And I reach into my pocket and I throw out silver stags.
That's
Like
started with. If you want to
20,
get all
20
their attention.
handfuls this way, 20 handfuls that way, another 20 behind both hands. I throw out 100 silver stags just out into the crowd.
Okay.
Jesus.
People immediately start running and grasping at these coins. And it is mere moments before all 100 silver stags are out of sight. You see a few people that have scrambled away with some silver stags just making a run for it, they're just happy that they've gotten some coin. Others are like, oh, okay, this guy is serious and also has given me free money. Yeah, I'll stay and listen. So you have got a significantly larger crowd now than you did a moment ago.
I'm actually going to let Yak fly overhead. So I'm not gonna go out in anywhere open. I'm just gonna try and let him out and let him fly overhead and just kind of get some air beneath his wings.
Okay, go ahead and make an animal handling test. Do you have any bonuses in there?
I have
Yeah.
animal handling with a bonus in train.
In train, okay.
I suspect that anything that I'm doing with Yak for a while will be
We'll be training, yeah.
training.
So yeah, go ahead and roll me that animal handling test with your bonus in train.
Okay. Ooh. That's a 17.
17. Awesome. All right, Martan, what do you say next? Now that you have the attention of the crowd.
I got 2 6s.
Nice.
As I
Oh,
said,
wait, you got 2 6s?
celebration.
Oh,
Yeah, a
that's
17. It was a 17 on 3 dice. I got 2 6s and a 5.
Hell yeah, that's a thing. Tell me when you get 6s on things.
Okay, sorry.
Hold on, let me...
Sorry, James.
It's okay.
I'm really just trying to have like my own little tiny thing over here. It's becoming larger and larger. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all
You
good.
just goofed.
All right, let's see.
Now
So...
shiny.
All right. You get to gain, add an experience point in animal handling.
Okay, just one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just
so,
list that as like 1 XP. That's what I've done previously.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
And like I said, he's just flying overhead. And if he gets restless, I'll pull a tassel and make sure he's staying on task. I'm trying not to let him go anywhere.
Cool. All right, Martan.
With more people in the crowd who have like come forward, I say, again, this is a time for celebration. And House Tide have become allies once again. A turn is coming for the island. You will see more jobs. You will see more coin. And then, once again, just reach into my pockets and I throw out another 80 silver stags.
Okay, you see a similar reaction. More people continue to gather from the outskirts. The large part of this town on this side, you see people starting to come out of their shops, out of their homes, into the streets to see what is the commotion, because now you're having to start yelling over a bit of crowd noise now that there are all these people that have scrambled for money and they're excited about what's going on here, and this is all new. Everything that they have heard up to this point has been about how Skrel is not to be trusted. They betrayed us, all of that kind of thing. So they're hearing and seeing you guys for the first time, and you're very generous, and all of this is kind of hitting them at the same time. Also, they know that there's been some commotion at the hall. So this is, they're really just hearing about this for the first time. And so whispers, a lot of back and forth conversations going on. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to say?
Take that coin, buy bread, buy chickens, meat, buy drink, ale, rum, whatever you'd have, whores if you like. And you should, for your betterment, enjoy it. That comes from House Skrel and Lord Tyde. Come to this island. You shall see it. You shall it. And then I'm just like eyes at the group and we're like, let's get out of here.
Let's load up the caravan, baby. Let's do it again.
All right. With that speech, as the crowd gets louder and louder, as more and more is going on, as the coins are flying, the hawk is just kind of making circles over the crowd, and as the last little bit of Martan's speech, when he is saying that this is from House Skrel and from House Tyde, you see, just kind of the birds swoop down over to Thali, who has his gauntlet up, ready to catch him, and kind of the swallow symbols that you have on your clothing, the bird swooping in, it just sets this kind of symbolic picture of, all the great things that are happening to them right now. So just... And as you leave, there are people that kind of come up to you and say thank you. There are people that still kind of avoid making eye contact, but that are still just kind of watching. And you are able to make your way outside of the city.
How many people would you say come up to the caravan?
To say their thanks, I would say about 15 or so. It's a small enough group.
Okay, Thali is going to... let me double check this real quick.
Anybody that comes up and says something, thank you, like, thank your gracious lord. Our visit here has been most productive, and he was a wonderful host, and he is a good man.
Yeah, absolutely. Just continuing the trend, Thali's going to butter their palms a little bit more and just like kind of thank them, and essentially just an extension of the speech. So I'm happy to lose some stags to that endeavor. I can give 3 to each person that comes up. Just as he is kind of like speaking, I'm just like boop, boop, boop.
All right. You do so discreetly so as not to draw too much attention to the fact that you're handing out a little extra coin.
Right.
They thank you and move back onto their morning routines. And the town is quickly abuzz with the news and the talk of the alliance, the friendship between the two houses, and the generosity of House Skrel in the streets of Arlon. You make your way down the road through the rest of the morning over into the early afternoon into the Silver Moon Harbor. Description as I gave it before.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. That happens.
And roughshod right over it.
Yeah, it's all good. And you are able to make your way to the ship that you recognize as the Grey Swallow. And as you approach the plank that leads to the main deck, you are greeted by Zeril Rakah, the captain from the Summer Islands that you know. And he welcomes you all aboard for this short voyage back home.
Were you planning to do the same thing? Yeah. Were you planning to do the same thing in this town?
In the harbor.
Port, I actually was.
Okay. That's what I assumed.
Okay. For expediency's sake, do you have a different speech prepared? Because if so, I'll let you do it.
I do actually have a couple different words for the words.
Well, let me just get another persuasion test from you.
Alright.
James out here making people think.
Get these 3 good feeling die.
Doing work.
Alright. Not as good. It's a 10 with
10.
1 6.
With 1 6. All right. That is going to get you a specialty experience. So something that you can use specifically for a specialty in persuasion.
Persuasion?
Mm-hmm. Because that does beat the DC. So here, You are successful in getting a crowd with merely your voice, just like you did before. And you are able to begin your speech to a few listeners. What would you like to say?
I'm going to just roll a train check and give you a number while he's doing that.
Go for it.
Ten with 1/6.
Cool. All right, Martan.
Portsmen, sailors, men of the seas. Great boon has come to this island. You'll see more work, you'll see more travel to and from. This is all thanks to your good Lord Tyde and House Skrel. Keep that in mind. And it would behoove you to keep an ear to the ground for words, rumors, anything regarding the treacherous Lazarus Dranatus. He is not to be trusted. He is an enemy of your lord. He is an enemy of ours. Coin will be given to any man with information that leads to him.
Thalia puts his hand on his bow.
Okay. Here you get a bit of a different response from that speech. You get some of the kind of apprehensive, dark looks that you're expecting from men of the port who don't know really who you are, other than you passed through once and you're passing through again. You look like you've got money, and you're talking about lordly alliances. But you also see, shop owners and just people of the town of Silvermoon Harbor listening, just kind of curious about the, jobs, more money, more trade, all of that sounds great. They're curious to see what the truth behind the words is.
Oh, when I notice the looks that are just like, that seem mistrustful, I reach into my pockets again and say, "Oh, I can see that you don't believe me," and then I throw out a few more handfuls of silver stags, throw out another just 100 just out into all the people that are around.
Okay.
That money is from Lord Tyde and House Skrel. There is more to come.
You see very quickly some of the more agile quickly scramble for the coins that they can get a hold of. Shortly after that, you start to see some of the bigger, stronger people come up behind them, and you begin to fear violence. That there may be some fights that break out over this coin. Is there anything that you wish to do before you see any blows struck? You start to see people approaching each other, not looking like they're about to have a good time.
Thalia, if you would please, and then after I do that, I raise my voice. This is not to be abused. And then I just give him a motion.
All right, Thalia, what do you do?
Is this a fire and arrow motion, or is this a knock and arrow motion? Thalia calls Yak down.
Okay, go ahead and make an animal handling with train test for me.
12.
You in last night after dinner, the trainer kind of showed you a few quick whistle calls just to get Yak to do basic maneuvers, fly away, come back, go here, that kind of thing. You give your best comeback whistle, and
I'm trying to get him to kind of cut straight over the top of the crowd. I mean, like, nearly clipping them with his wings. Just
all right, yeah.
Give me the
You modify your comeback whistle with a modifier that tells it to swoop low, come in low. So it swoops over the tops of the heads of the crowd as Martan gives his, or after he gives his command. And at the sight of this hunting hawk, it's a brown bird with some lighter brown feathers on the bottom side of its chest. So not the gray swallow, but a hawk meant with talons and a beak that can shred a person's face pretty easily. So as it swoops down low over the crowd after the bellow, it looks like the thugs back up just a little bit and don't approach. Seems like you have stemmed any sort of violence for the moment.
As that's happening, Radova's going to kind of scan the crowd to try and find somebody who looks like a leader, someone who looks like they have authority in amongst these various groups, not just like of the thugs, but of the all of them as a whole, someone who looks like they have some power.
Okay. Make an awareness empathy test for me.
Okay. That is a 12 with none 6s.
12. All right. This harbor is unfamiliar to you. You don't recognize any of the faces that you see out in the crowd.
Sure.
But using what you know of ports, having spent plenty of your time in them, and looking around at what the people are wearing, you're able to quickly discern who are the shop owners and who are the kind of the patrons of these places, who are the sailors, who are the blacksmiths, who are the business owners, that kind of thing. And you know that in general, tavern keeps have a good rapport with both just general patrons and the more rough and tumble crowd. And you are able to single out someone who looks to be just outside of a shop, kind of cleaning one of their mugs, looking on without taking any sort of action.
Radova is going to, Radova's not a tall man, but he stands a little straighter and squares his shoulders, and kind of screws up his face in a very not out of character way for Martan and Thali, what they know of him, but definitely in a little bit more of a sneer than he normally wears. And he will very purposefully take the sort of half cloak cape thing that he wears normally, unclasp it and drop it on the deck so that the glittering coin mail is on full display. And he'll just kind of lift his hands and crack his knuckles and push his way through the crowd to this tavern keeper. I've not done this in a very long time, and I've not been in your port for very long at all. However, the Iron Hand would like to ensure that every man and woman on this dock what wants to partake can eat and drink for free for the rest of tonight and today and the next day. What would that cost?
The man in front of you, you see, tall, broad-shouldered, looks to be in his maybe mid-40s, graying beard, kind of curly hair, and just an apron on, kind of brown, rough spun clothes on, just cleaning a mug. He kind of looks you up and down, looks Martan up and down, looks around at the crowd.
Thali winks at him when he looks Thali's way.
Well, at my pub, if you're looking to spend the coin there, it's not going to be cheap. Going to be 3 days worth of food and drink for a lot of sailors.
Aye, that it would.
Think 3 days. These guys can go through a lot. 50 gold dragons ought to see to the lot of them. But, I mean, I don't know if I have liquor for all that.
Now, refresh my memory before I get myself
what's the
in
conversion
trouble.
rate? You've given us only silver stags so far.
Because I do not remember. I know that it was weird, and we weren't
It's
going to
like
do that
20
question mark.
Is it 22 copper to 1 silver?
No, it's 60 copper to 1 silver, and it's 200 silver to a gold dragon.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's right.
Yeah.
Way off.
Radova nods and turns back to Martan. If Lord Martan Skrel would be so kind as to offer 50 gold dragons to this tavern keep, to let these men and women eat and drink their fill till he runs out of liquor, I'd say that would pretty handily prove the incoming fortunes at the hands of the House Tyde and Skrel alliance. And maybe spend some of that blood money that we stole off of.
Yeah, have we got the coin to cover that? I honestly don't know.
The purse of coin that you took off of Sir Byron Rock's body had 500 gold dragons on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But that is as yet undivided or undecided what is to be done with that. So, but you do have it.
I don't remember if I'm still carrying that or if I did pass it off to Martan.
Thali is going to lean over to Martan at this moment and say, "My lord, this is the sort of thing, this is the exact sort of thing. Your benevolence is precisely what I was hoping that we could do for these people when I was offering aid, when I was offering coin. This is precisely what I would like to do. I don't have a ton of money, my lord, but I can account for maybe 2 of those gold dragons." And this should be clear to Martan that this would be like almost all of Thali's money. But Thali is like totally willing to give that.
It's a good catch.
Thank you. Thick dives save lives, and in this case, peanut butter M&Ms.
They are easier to catch than the regulars.
It's true.
They're kind of big.
All right. What's your response?
I look the man. Look him. I guess I'm right there, right?
Radova walked a little ways to get up to the man, but you're close enough.
What sort of people are around?
It's a mixture of sailors and dock workers, people that, are just there to load and unload the ships. You see people just kind of all stripes in this port. Is there something that you're looking specifically for?
just sort of trying to assess the danger.
The level of danger.
Yeah, that I'm putting myself in by being amongst a huge crowd of people that I just threw money into.
It looks to have simmered down as far as the tension is concerned. You don't feel immediately threatened. The people that looked like they might be bringing some violence to the table no longer look like that. They have backed off.
Thali will have, in the time that Radava had did his thing, Thali will have hooded and caged the bird.
All right.
And when he was speaking to Martan, it would have been his he would have likely kind of assured him that things were going to be okay, maybe have his hand on his dagger or something to let him know that, like, we still got you. We're just trying to make these folks happy.
Okay. All right, Drew. We're about to do some quick numbers here.
Okay.
This port, about how many ships do I see in it at present?
Make a awareness notice test.
Drew said I'm gonna slow your numbers down by making you roll for them.
Give him time to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not bad. That's an 8 with 1 6.
An 8 with 1 6. All right. Looking around the town and at the port itself, it looks like at maximum this port could hold about 50 or so ships the size of the Grey Swallow, which is a, pretty standard war galley size. You see a few smaller fishing boats. You see a handful of small traders of 5 or 6 trading vessels, and then you see about 7 that are the size of your ship, the Grey Swallow, that are currently docked or are in the process of entering the harbor or leaving it. So, about 15, 16 ships all told.
Okay. About how many men would I figure to man, just the average sized ship I see there?
You can, with the average size ship that you see, you're looking at a minimum crew of about 12. Most of them are going to have about 20 on the crew with, passengers and other people that do other jobs on the ship as well. So depending on the ship, anywhere from 20 to 40 on board.
And how many 60 copper to 1 silver, 200 silver to 1 gold?
Yes. You trying to give everybody a penny, or what is it you're trying to do here?
I'm not going to be extorted.
Oh, you're trying to do the math and see if he's cheating you.
Yes.
Okay. Do an awareness empathy test.
Yeah, that's good. There are mechanics for this.
There's an easier way.
Good.
We don't have to use math.
Damn it.
Math.
That's a 7 with 1 6.
A 7 with 1 6. In looking at the man from across the crowd, after Iron Hand has had his short conversation with him, it's a little hard to tell just by looking at him if he is trying to extort you or not. He's able to keep his face pretty impassive. The 50 gold dragons. I don't know, you've never really fed a town before. So for 3 days, I don't know, it's hard to tell. He looks like he could be, the average kind of shopkeeper. Not really giving you one way or the other on that. $50 gold dragons sounds like a lot of money.
This is... Sorry, just to see if we can help in this in any way. This is something that I think Radova and Thali would be familiar with, is like the amount of money that it takes to feed a boat. The amount of money that it takes to feed a bunch of sailors. I don't know if we can provide him with any insight into this matter.
Well, and Radova is entirely committed to it. Radova a little bit feels like they're getting a markup, but he's like, no, fuck it, let's throw our weight around. Let's put up or shove. They called our bluff, and Radova is 100% unbeaten at any game of chicken that's ever come across him.
Yeah, you just ran at that boar.
Sure fucking did.
All right. Well, do you say that to
I walk
them,
up and
or?
approach.
Yeah.
I mean, so, anyways, guess I'm right there now.
All right. Yeah. If you want to walk up to where Radova and this gentleman are speaking, yeah.
What is this now, Radova?
Well, I was...
What is this now, Iron Hand?
Well, since you are making displays of future fortunes and promises to be kept, I figure the best way to ensure that our friends here on the docks believe you and keep an ear out, as it were, would be to feed them and drink them. This fine man here says that 50 gold dragons will pay for food and drink for the rest of today, tonight, and tomorrow. I figure that's enough time for anybody to warm up to the idea that an alliance with House Skrel will bring him no end of fortune.
50 gold dragons to one tavern keeper sounds like extortion to me. And then, I look the dude right in the eye.
Radova kind of turns and looks at the tavern keeper, and let me see here. What does intimidation fall under? Persuasion?
Yes.
Balls.
What you trying to do? Or what do you want?
Whether Radova's doing the sort of quick mental math in his head of whether or not it actually is extortion. And if it is, if there is a clever way to put into the tavern keeper's head the very real threat of, you had best make this last a little bit longer than 3 days and nights, or I'll be back.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a clever way to do that maybe doesn't require me to roll persuasion.
Yeah.
Is James raising his hand for attention? I'm not quite.
Do you have anything in deception?
I'm not, sorry. Megan's bringing me a seltzer, and she does not want to be on the camera at all, so
Fair valid.
I'm blocking
Understandable.
off that bit of it.
Amazing.
Thank you, baby.
Very, very clever of you. My deception is better than my persuasion, technically, but no, I don't have anything unique there.
Okay, well, if you would like to... Because act technically falls under deception. If you're trying to kind of put on airs, I'll let you use that instead of just
I think
intimidation.
I think that's reasonable. Because he is a little bit channeling the Iron Hand, this person that he used to be and is no longer. Or, hasn't been in some time. So let's see. All I know is that 2 is better than 1. Not this time, though. That's a whole 5.
A whole 5. Yeah, in quickly relaying, what you are able to about maybe making this money last. Maybe just try to stretch the gold a little bit. And kind of, just kind of tapping your dagger with your hand as you're saying that. He looks down, kind of raises an eyebrow for a second, looks back up, and says, "All right, I think I can manage that."
See how helpful people are when you reach out to them in the spirit of generosity.
Sorry, what number am I agreeing to now?
Still 50, but it's gonna last longer than 3 days.
How long?
Long enough to
didn't
get us
say.
off this island.
Huh?
He did not say.
Didn't say.
All right. Well, what would you like to do?
No dice. I don't believe. I'm not one of those lords who believe that money for one is money for all. I think money for all is money for all. That's why I threw it out. Perhaps I'll give a few gold dragons to the other proprietors along this way. And with that, I reach into my purse, toss him 2 gold dragons. Do what you will with that, and then move on down to another tavern, inn, keep, whatever. Just
All right, and just kind of, you're gonna, I assume by this, you're spreading the gold dragons out between the different locales in town.
I will. To
All
at
right.
least the first few that are like, along the way. That look like there's like, yeah, they'll like, they're gonna have a lot lot there.
They look reputable.
The big reputable
Yeah, I was about to say, if it
establishments.
looks
Okay.
seedy, then it's just like, well, not
Yeah,
to be that way, but
yeah, of course.
be
All
that
right.
way.
Yeah, you're able to quickly determine a few of the bigger and more well-visited establishments in the Silver Moon Harbor. And
Oh,
not...
wait, no.
Oh, go ahead.
Shit, I guess I've already walked away to that.
Yeah, you've already walked away. You're able to quickly put coin in the hands of several of the shopkeepers with the agreement that they will allow, the correct number of patrons to kind of eat and drink for free until this money has been used. And you're able to split that up over the different establishments instead of all at one place. The innkeeps are all quite grateful. The tavern keepers are all, send everyone off with a pint that wants one. Is there any?
I just want to make it clear to all of these people after I give them the money that is from House Skrel and their Lord Tyde as an assurance of the the future and continued prosperity of the island. And with both Radibun, Thali, and Toe, I would also like to say, don't let me find that money didn't go to the people.
All right.
Radova grins nice and wide and puts both of his hands on a dagger on each hip.
Yep, you got some nice blades now.
Sure do.
Blades for dates.
Yeah. Well, after the much more tense encounter in the Silver Moon Harbor, dividing the coin up between the tavern keepers and making sure that the Silver Moon Harbor will be singing of the Skrels and House Tyde for quite some time to come, you make your way to the Grey Swallow.
Yeah.
At long last.
This time.
Before departing, is there anything that you want to do on the ship?
Radova's gonna scoop his cloak back up off the deck and put it back on.
I don't have anything to say, not until we're on the seas.
Okay. After Captain Zerol welcomes you aboard, they find space for the horse and are able to hobble it so that it will stay relatively at ease while on board the ship. Horses don't like the water, but this one has traveled on sea before, so it's used to the procedure. You are able to set your belongings down kind of in the quarters that you had before. And the commands, the whistles are given to start making way out of the harbor. You start to see the tethers holding the ship to the dock get untied. The sails start to fill as the Grey Swallow leaves the Silver Moon Harbor. The voyage to Skrel Island will take 2 days. As you leave the harbor, you're kind of once again greeted with the salt air and the spray of the sea. Out ahead of you, the narrow sea opens up, and off in the distance you see what look to be the beginnings of some grayer clouds in the distance. And as you exit the harbor, you head kind of straight away from the land for a bit, and then a couple whistles are given, and the steersman changes direction, and you see the sails kind of reset themselves with the ropes being pulled by the crew, and you set a course for Skrel Island. Most of this first day has been taken up with travel, so you will, sail through the night, but you are able to have a meal on deck, your dinner. So if there is any of the traveling kind of conversations that anyone has in mind, this would be a good time for one of those.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we want to roll to see?
Are we all like eating together?
Yes, this would be a kind of a group. I mean, not everyone in the crew will be eating with you, but the 5 of you will be allowed to eat together with whomever of the crew that you would like.
Do we have? I mean, are there folks on the crew?
I think Zeril is the first one. I mean, he's the captain, so that's the one that you have met and kind of conversed with the most. I think you also met the first mate, Andoran.
Okay. Yes.
Who is a Dornishman, also in his kind of mid-40s. I am not sure if you've met any of the other members of the crew, but I think those 2 for sure.
Yeah, I'll get down with anybody in the crew.
All right.
If the captain wants to eat, I'll eat with the captain. If the first mate wants to eat, I'll eat with the first mate. I'm trying to eat with all these folks. Don't matter.
Yeah, I think the captain and the first mate, it would make sense for them to be there at the table with you.
It's very true.
I mean, the 5 of you being the envoys from House Skrel, you are eating in the captain's quarters around his table. So he and his first mate are there.
How do you spell Andoran? A-N-D-A-R...
A-N-D-E-R-O-N.
E-R-O-N, okay.
Oh, I had the O and the E mixed up.
All right, who wants to go first? Actually, let's keep it to just one. So who really wants to do one?
Don't matter. You want to play rollies? Let's go high roll for it.
Let's do rollies. Let's play rollies.
All right.
Somebody else can go. I'll have something for the next day.
Use D6 or D20.
It's up to you. What you want to roll, Colin?
Well, this game is based on D6s, so let's do D6s.
Let's do it. Let's stick with the program. Ooh.
All right. 5.
Samesies.
Roll again. Do it again.
That's why you roll 2 dice. Gosh.
Oh, that's fair. I got another 5.
I got a 4.
Ugh, all right. Now I have to act.
Just done that
all
the
you.
first time.
Listen. It's more dramatic if you do it one at a time.
It's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Can't play 2 hands of rock, paper, scissors at the same time. I mean, you can, but
You could, but who would?
Why would you do that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't do that. All
Makes no
right.
sense.
Folly, who would you like to talk to? It can be a member of the crew. It can also be any of the 4 other people that are in your group. So.
Can I choose the captain and/or the first mate?
Yeah, you can.
Then yeah, I'm gonna talk to the captain.
Okay. Let me pull up those rules real quick.
While you do that, I'm
All right.
right back.
Go ahead and make either a persuasion test with you if you have bonuses in convince, charm, or seduce, depending on what you're trying to do. You can use those, or you can use awareness with empathy bonuses.
Now, remind me what an ability experience in persuasion would allow me to do.
It allows you to get ranks in persuasion easier. You use those to gain ranks in persuasion. So right here, it will help you not at all.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Gonna roll that persuasion. Here comes. I got a 9 with 1 6.
Okay. That is a reveal. So, you reveal something to yourself the other character has a question about, as part of this conversation. And form a bit of a relationship, or at least kind of begin one. So how would you like to open this conversation?
Um, I can't thank you enough for just hovering around on the open ocean while waiting on us to be done concluding our business, he says in jest to the captain.
The captain kind of chuckles to himself. Ah, well, I am used to waiting on young lordlings. That is part of my duties as the captain of the ships here.
I say, I will drink to that.
Indeed.
Raise my glass.
So, you have sailed quite some bit before. Have your experiences on the narrow sea been?
I've done a little everything. Some honest, some not so honest work, but have tried to stay true to myself and have always done my best to see the best in people as I am allowed.
Well, I've heard that you're excellent with the bow as well. Where did you pick that up?
I began working with the bow at a very, very early age. I feel as though I've almost always held it. Like maybe I was born with it in my hand. He just kind of laughs about it. But
It must have been very painful for your mother.
he grins a little about that. Because his mind doesn't even go to... His mind doesn't go to, like, him being born with a bow in his hand. His mind goes to the moment that he first used a bow. And he kind of smiles about that, and he says, I like to think that maybe it alleviated some of her pain. And he kind of chuckles about it and tries to make it funny.
The captain chuckles and looks kind of confused by that statement, because it does not make sense in his head.
No. I saved my mother's life.
Oh.
Says a little more somberly. When I was just a child. I don't even remember how old I was. Very young.
Old enough.
Yeah. But yeah, he says someone came collecting money, maybe a little too aggressive for my taste or understanding, and so I killed him.
Just like that, then.
Had to be.
Well, and that was the first time you had used a bow.
It was indeed.
Well, sounds like a shit. I'm sure he deserved it.
I like to think so.
Well, I'm happy you're on our side then. He kind of raises his mug of grog and takes a swig.
May you never be on the other side of this thing.
I hope I never am.
He definitely says that kind of in a joking way. He doesn't mean to be threatening at all with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Here's
It
him.
is taken in so much. Cool. Well, I think that fairly well wraps up that conversation, unless you had something that you wanted to add. So if you want, you can now go ahead and add a just general experience point to your character.
Okay. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Dunzo.
All right. After dinner, everyone is able to kind of go to their hammocks and get a relatively restful night's sleep. The clouds that you saw in the distance, as you get closer, it looks like there's a bit of a storm off in the distance. Never gets close enough that you really feel it, but you do start to notice the waves getting just a little bit bigger as you're kind of going to sleep. But during the night, nothing out of the ordinary happens. You are able to wake in the morning to a new day. It looks like as you get back on topside that the storm has passed in the night, and it looks like a pretty clear day. As the kind of morning goes by, let me get everyone to make awareness notice tests for me.
Hell yeah.
Got a 12.
12?
5.
5?
10.
10. Okay. So on your kind of walks around the deck in the morning, just kind of glancing around, the storm, like I said, has subsided, so you don't see any of the dark clouds in the distance any longer. And as such, there just doesn't seem to be anything in the ocean to latch onto. As you stare into the expanse of space, you just kind of get lost in, I don't even know what direction I'm looking anymore. You have to remember, kind of orient yourself with the sun, kind of where it is, to remember, all right, yeah, we are still on that same course. And while you're kind of going about this, you hear a whistle, kind of from the crow's nest, that they have spotted something kind of due south of where you're at. Not directly ahead of you, not kind of in the direction that you're heading, but kind of to the south. And you see the steersman, some of the men kind of up on the main deck, start pulling out their respective lenses, their far eyes, and taking a look. So if anyone else would like to pull out their far eyes and take a look,
Yeah.
Like to do so.
Absolutely.
you may go ahead and make another awareness notice with the 2 bonus dice.
That's more like it.
Something good. 10 with 1 6.
22 with 2 6s.
Nice.
22 with 2 6s.
That felt better. That felt more correct.
Yeah, that's more like the Radava awareness tests that I remember.
Just had to get warmed up, that's all.
That's all it was.
Okay, Martan, as you are kind of scanning in that general direction, your eyes just kind of get lost in the waves, and you have trouble kind of locating exactly where it is that they're trying to look. Radava, with the calls and the directions that you've been given, and you're used to being at sea, you're used to looking to. Okay, he called. That's port side or star. Yeah, port side. About so many degrees. All right, let me look right here, and you are able to pretty much as soon as you lift up your far eyes, look down the lenses, and you see what looks to be a kind of medium-sized galley, a ship in the sea to your south. It looks like at present your courses will intersect, perhaps not at the same time, but it looks like your paths will cross in maybe about an hour or so if the courses don't change of either ship. In looking at it, it's a single-masted galley, and at the distance that it's at, doesn't appear to be moving terribly fast. Sitting kind of low in the water, and isn't displaying any sort of colors or flags or anything that you are able to discern. And after a few minutes pass, just kind of everyone watching, seeing what's happening with the ship. It's not quite close enough yet to start making signals to each other that you would, be able to understand. But you do notice that after a few minutes of watching the ship, that there is a little bit of movement on deck, and the sails are rotated a little bit, and it looks like they have turned ever so slightly and are now heading not directly away from you, but away from you, kind of angling directly south.
Well, ain't that something? He kind of looks over at Martan and helps kind of adjust. Grabs him by the top of his head and by the far eyes.
That way.
Yeah, and points it more in the correct direction. There's a galley down that way. Was looking to pass by us, but it seems they've turned a little more southerly, so as not to cross paths with us, so to speak. Not in a full retreat, as it were, but whoever it is, they don't want to run into us. I can't say I blame them out here.
At this point, the captain approaches the two of you and says, I'm certain that you have seen the ship. They appear to be sailing away from us. Do you wish for us to pursue and make contact, or do you want us to steer directly home? They didn't seem to be flying any colors that we saw.
Would we find it odd that they weren't flying any colors? Are we flying any colors?
Normally, when you run across a ship that you are unfamiliar with, you show your colors, they show theirs, go your separate ways. It is a little strange that they, without trying to make any sort of communication efforts, just started moving away from you.
Well, I'm the curious sort, but it's not my decision to make.
Captain Zeril, what do you believe to be the intent of the ship. They did move away from us, however, that does seem suspicious.
Well, you have your far eyes. Take a look. And you see him pull out a similar instrument, and as he is pointing out the ship, he starts to draw your attention to a couple of details. He says, well, the ship's riding low in the water. It normally means that they're carrying a lot of cargo. Ship not flying any colors could mean anything, but it doesn't indicate that they are from a specific place. So someone trying to fly under the radar, that would be a way to do it. You see the mangonel that they have on their ship, and he is drawing your attention to a small, essentially looks like a rope catapult that they have mounted to kind of the front end of their ship. And he points out some of the indications as kind of the paths are getting a little bit closer as he's kind of angled towards it. And he points out how it looks like it has been installed, like it wasn't in an original part of the ship. Plenty of ships outfit weapons after the fact, but I would say that in my experience, ships that look like that and that don't want to be seen or noted, they have something to hide.
Like as not, they're smugglers or pirates.
Well, I am the captain of the ship, but I answer to House Skrel. Young Lord Martan, what would you have me do? We can steer a course for the ship, or we can continue ours home.
So we're like 1 day away from,
Roughly, yeah.
or roughly away from where we were.
We're like
And-
1 day-ish away from Ithaca. It'll probably be a real quick trip.
Be
Yeah, real quick
fine.
thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, real
Fine.
Just, don't use your real name and keep it in your pants.
Yeah.
And how far away are we from Skrel Island?
A little bit over a day at this point. It would take you the rest of today and kind of through the night to get back there at your current pace. But you also know that you have provisions that would last you longer than that trip, should you need to use more time.
Do you believe it'd be possible for us to overtake them?
Absolutely.
In what time?
Judging by their speed, me knowing ours, I think we could reach them in half an hour.
But quickly.
I think so. I know my crew.
It is suspicious. But homeward bound is what we were and what we shall continue to be. These are not our waters. These are open.
I could at the very least signal them. They should still see us. I can try to hail them with some flags. If we don't feel like running them down for no reason.
Yes, please, Captain. Do that if you would.
Right away. And he goes back up to the helmsman. There is a kind of a pole back there where the flags are flown. And a kind of greeting signal flag is raised. And for a few minutes, everyone kind of that is looking on the ship is waiting to see what response comes from the ship that is down the way.
Watching them like a fucking hawk.
Yeah. Radova, what
Speaking
you
of-
see is after about 5 minutes, a flag is hoisted. And what you see is a bit of a tattered it's kind of a sea green colored flag, and before it makes it to the top of the mast, it's really hard to tell what the emblem is. But once the flag reaches the top, it unfurls, and you see that it is a silver seahorse on a sea green field. And anyone that, well, Radova, if you want to make a, let's see, what would this be? A knowledge, could be education or research.
And if I have neither of those,
Then just a knowledge test.
great. I'll give it a shot. Why not? A 5.
A 5. This flag that you see is a little bit worn, a little bit tattered, but you swear you've seen it before. It looks like it's just a very familiar emblem. That silver seahorse. You've seen that somewhere before.
I know damn good and well what that is. What the fuck? And he's kind of holding the Far Eyes in one hand and is like, he actually gets so frustrated that he snatches one of the coins off of his armor and starts rolling it between his knuckles in this very agitated sort of way.
Iron Hand, what do you see?
God damn it! It's what is the damn color? It's a seahorse. I cannot place it for the life of me. It's a silvery sort of thing on a sea-colored background, like a sea green silver seahorse. Where the fuck have I seen that?
Martan, would you go ahead and make a knowledge test for me, since he just gave you this description? And you can use education or research if you wish.
Alright, that's a 11, 16. 16 with 1 6.
16 with 1 6. All right, go ahead and add a specialty experience in in whatever it was you just tested. Knowledge. There it is.
Knowledge.
Jesus, that was hard. Okay. You, upon hearing that description, you immediately recognize that's the sigil of House Velaryon, which is an old Valyrian house. They came to Westeros a little bit before the Targaryens did. They were great seafarers, are great seafarers. They still exist. They live on the island of Driftmark, which is near Dragonstone. And they have always been great seafarers. Lots of admirals and masters of ships were from House Velaryon. And they often wore the title Lord of the Tides. The description that Ironhand gave you of seeing that flag above this ship makes no sense to you. The Valarians are a relatively wealthy house known for traveling all over the world on board their very famous ships. This looks like nothing that matches that description.
Iron Hand, are you certain that's what you saw?
Aye, sure as I see you standing next to me. Now, to be fair, the flag does look beat to rat shit. So... it is hanging on by a thread. It's not in good shape. So whatever it is, it's either very, very old or... very, very old.
Very curious. Not what I would expect. It is the sigil of House Valarian.
That's the...
Noted seafarers. This does not sit right with me.
It
Well,
does seem a mite odd.
the way I see it is, if we come up on a ship that says to be one thing and turns to be another, we are probably in for at least a skirmish.
It is an interesting
Is,
choice, to be sure.
Is Zeril still there with us?
He went up to the steersman to get the flags changed, but in the time watching and seeing the response from the other ship, he has returned to you.
Captain, can you assure me that we could catch up to them within, as you say, half an hour?
He looks around at his crew, looks over at his first mate. His first mate does nothing except smile. And he looks back at you and says, "Absolutely, we can."
There may be violence. Is everyone prepared?
You see him unsheath his long sword, and Andoran, you see behind him, pull out his double-curved recurve bow. Yes,
Well then.
I think we are.
This is a curiosity that needs exploring. Chase them down.
Right away. And he pulls up a whistle and blows a few short blasts on it, and very quickly you see the atmosphere on the ship change. People that were walking to their positions are now running. You see the sails quickly turn to catch the wind in just the way to push the ship over with the help of the steersman, and you are now making for this ship. As you turn in line with it, anyone that is looking through the far eyes at the ship notices that the movement on the ship becomes more frantic, more energized, and they do not change their course.
Well, they're ready for us, whatever it is that they're doing. It ain't running yet, though. Tholly, do us a favor. Get up somewhere high.
Aye, aye.
All right.
Tholly climbs the crow's nest if he can.
Okay. Go ahead and make an... Let's do agility or athletics.
Okay. I'm gonna keep asking you questions about. I have specialty experience in one of these.
Those are just to get you... Specialty experience gives you bonus dice.
Okay.
Ability experience gives you ranks in the actual base ability.
So I've got specialty ability or specialty experience in agility.
Mm-hmm.
Could I burn that for bonus die? Is that how that works?
No, that's not how it
Okay.
works. You could use a glory points bonus dice if you wish. There are, I think, 2 or 3 of those that your party has at its disposal.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do that. It's just call me a favor.
Those are the only bonus dice that you have available right now, though.
Well,
Martan has spoken.
I got a 7.
You got a 7? Okay.
Yeah.
You are climbing up ropes to reach the crow's nest. This is something that you've done before, but it's been a little while. Kind of knocking the cobwebs off as you get up there again. Remembering kind of how you need to grip the ropes to move safely up there. And once you get up there, you are in a very small enclosure with another person who's the actual watchman.
Right.
But he is able to quickly get you oriented, and you are above the sail of the ship, so there is nothing impeding your vision from this perch, and you are able to see down onto the deck of the ship that you're on, but you also gain a much better vantage point and a good bit of elevation on the ship that's out in front of you. So,
Okay.
all right, excellent. Is there anything that anyone else wishes to do at this moment?
Captain Zeril,
Yes.
is there a flag you can run up to let them know that perhaps we may need assistance?
Yes, I can run up that flag right away. And he waves down his first mate and makes a couple of hand signs over to him. And the first mate goes, you see Runnin goes and grabs a flag, runs the flag up. And you watch the other ship for a sign for anything to change. And as you start to get closer, Radova, the commotion on the deck clears a little bit, and you see someone brought forward. Looks to be in a little bit nicer clothing than those around him. That's kind of looks like they're waiting for the approach for you guys to kind of get within earshot.
Oh, no, that's interesting. He kind of jerks his head to the side and directs Martan's far eyes again. They brought up somebody a little nicer dressed than the rest of them. Looks like they might actually be waiting for us now. It was a clever thought. I hadn't thought I'd told you any stories about doing that.
No, not that I recall. Captain Zeril, no response flag-wise from the other ship?
None that we have seen.
Please, Iron Hand, be prepared. Captain, yourself, and I shout up at Thali. Knock 1 or 2 for me, if you would, please.
Knocked.
All right.
If it does turn nasty, Martan, I would appreciate it if you would make your way to the captain's quarters and keep yourself safe. I'd rather
Yes,
you not get hit with an arrow from the other ship.
Yes, I do believe that would be a wise course of action. I shall go below decks, perhaps see to Nicholas's not so great health, and Sorry, notes.
Unbelievable. How do you reference your notes?
With a lot of flipping and shuffling.
I think while he's looking this up, Thali's probably going to release Yak.
Okay. What is it that you're wanting Yak to do? Just
I want Yak to hang around our ship for now. I don't want him to go over there and get shot out of the sky. You know, I don't want to bring him any harm or anything. But I don't know, just kind of have him be out and about.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to remove his hood and release him so that he can start flying. And he does indeed stay close to the ship, unless you signal for him to move elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. I assume Sir Darren was not on deck with us, just because we didn't mention it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, when I go down, I find him, inform him of what's going on, and tell him he might need to be ready for battle.
Of course, my lord. I will don my armor.
You are a representative of House Skrel, though, so use your best judgment. I don't know that this will come to blows. However, it is... The situation is uncertain.
Of course. I will be as careful as I can. And he goes to his, where he's got his things laid away and starts to don his armor with the help of Nicholas. Okay. At this point, we are getting you are getting much closer to the ship. Now you are approaching being within earshot of the other vessel. They have not made any sort of aggressive moves. They haven't opened fire or anything. But there is still a lot of commotion on the deck. And as you are getting closer, the person that you saw, Iron Hand, with the kind of nicer clothing seems to be kind of making waves, trying to get someone's attention.
Iron Hand will have moved. Once Martan went down to talk to Sir Darren, Iron Hand will have moved to the front of the ship, up to the bow, to watch, as they're approaching. And as this person is sort of waving, kind of puts on his best gold dragon smile and waves back and shouts across the space. Hoy there! Pleasant to see another ship this far out. Who might I be talking to?
And after a second, you hear callback over the waves. My name's Garth. We're bound for Pentos. And in looking at him, Radava, you see the clothes that he's wearing are nice. They look a little big on him though. And you notice a bit of a hesitation in his voice. And on closer look, he looks kind of thin for somebody who is supposed to be, wealthy. The clothes don't seem to match the person underneath them. And you start looking around at the people behind him, and they're not looking at your ship, they're watching him. Closely. Like they're waiting.
Interesting. Radava is going to kind of surreptitiously, insofar as he can, turn to the nearest crew to him and kind of give him a little bit of a warning look and kind of glance up at Thali before turning back. Well met, Garth, of ship bound for Pentos. My name is Radava Harkley. I'm a emissary and representative of House Skrel. We ran into a bit of trouble in our travels and wondered if you might be willing to answer a few questions for us. And lost James.
Lost him.
Perhaps accept a request.
After a few moments, you see the person in those clothes kind of turn and seem to be saying something to the people behind them. After a few moments, he turns back around and says, what would you have of us? What is it you need to know?
Oh, it's nothing, well, I won't say it's not important. It's very important to us. You see, we, made acquaintances with a man named Lazorus Dranatus back on, oh shit, what's the name of the island? House Tyde of Island.
Yeah,
Arlon.
I literally just write the tides every time in my notes. I'm like, what is the name of that island?
Fuck.
The island is Arlon.
That's
Arlon.
right. Because it's the name of the town, too.
Yep.
On the Isle of Arlon, in our visits with House Tyde, he tried very, very hard to see us killed and, well, failed miserably. We wondered if perhaps you had word of such a traveler or had run into any ships headed from that direction towards, he was going to Mir?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one?
That's the one.
Any ships headed to Mir. We would be very grateful for any information you might have stumbled upon.
Another couple of moments while he turns, seems to say some things, seems like he's getting some responses from those behind him, and he turns back around and says, we don't know anything about that man. We're just headed to Pentos. We don't want any trouble. And as the conversation is stretching out longer and longer, you see he's becoming more and more nervous. The people behind him seem to be a little bit more agitated. The longer time goes on.
Well, lucky for you, we don't want any trouble either. Well, if you haven't heard of any ships bound for Mir or of Lazorus himself, I did have a wonder about your flag there. It seems that you're flying House Valerian colors. I haven't seen one of them around in a very long time. I'd be, well, as a seafaring man myself, I would be remiss if I didn't ask for a quick parleyance to swap some stories and maybe trade some goods. Looks like you're traveling quite heavy there.
you see the man turn around again and relay some of this information. And he has been getting more and more kind of shaky as time has gone on. When he is repeating what you have just said to the people behind him, they immediately start to yell some words that you don't recognize. It's not a language that you remember hearing before. But Martan, you do recognize some of these words.
I can hear it.
Below deck, there are still some windows, and you're able to make out a couple of words in Pentoshi. You hear cargo, you hear leave, you hear Pentos, you hear masters, and you hear slaves.
Don't make that face, Colin Hancock. Zip.
All right.
And when you start to hear the shouting, the man in the fine clothes starts to back up and puts his hands up in a kind of a shielding away motion. And the people in front of him draw blades. And
On him?
On him.
Great. And Radova immediately turns up. Thali, keep that one alive if it's the last thing you fucking do.
I loose arrows.
All right. Go ahead, and there are several people in front of him. How many arrows are you firing? I'll give you a normal turn.
You're gonna give me a whole turn? Is that what you said?
A turn's worth of action. Yeah. So if you've got an ability that you want to use, go for it.
I'm gonna triple shot. I'm gonna try and hit 3 people.
Okay. Go ahead and make your rolls. Each of those is it's your normal roll minus 2 of the test dice. So just tell me your results.
Rolling that as Thali is getting ready to knock these and fire them off, Radova turns immediately after to Captain Zerol. I don't know what they mean, but I don't like the look of them. You think we can survive hitting them? Or should we just get real close and jump?
We don't know. Are we trying to keep any of them alive?
The one in the nice clothes I would like to keep alive. He seems not a part of their number. I don't know what the hell they're saying, but I recognize threats when I see them.
Well, then we'll want to get close.
Great. And he, immediately takes that to heart and puts a foot up on the railing and grabs it with both hands. The minute they're close enough, he's going to launch himself at that boat.
Okay.
To be clear, I have a 7 in marksmanship with a 5 bonus dice in bows.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm using 5 marksmanship, 5 bonus dice.
Yes.
So I roll 10 altogether, take away 5.
Correct.
Got it.
Well, when Martan hears some of those words, he's like, oh shit. I know that they don't know what they're talking about. Let me get up on the deck and see what I can do.
A 26 with 1/6.
Okay.
I hate you so much.
Me?
Yes. My favorite part of combat is seeing how many 6s Thali rolls and what the number is. Every time.
27 with 3 6s.
God.
So that's a solid hit. If it crits, which I have to assume some of these do, it's a solid hit and a bloody wound already.
Um, 25 with 2 6s.
All right. That's what, another bloody wound, isn't it? Or is it a solid hit again?
That's a powerful hit.
Powerful hit. All right. With the first arrow that you release, you're kind of sighting. You're over the sail. You're trying to accommodate for the wind that you're dealing with on the open ocean, and the fact that you're firing onto another ship, and trying to avoid hitting the person in the fancy clothes. All of which you are able to thread successfully, and you see the impact hit this first character in his chest. He does not seem to be wearing any sort of armor, so the impact knocks him over onto the ground, and you see him just start to kind of claw his way over to the side somewhere. The second arrow you fire looks almost at first as though it has missed. It kind of flies up right next to his shoulder, but he quickly drops his short sword and grasps up at his neck, and you see a flood of red start flowing out from the wound in his neck, and he collapses. The third person that you fire the arrow at, you see has watched the two next to him take arrows, and looks up in time to see the arrow that takes his life as he is pierced through the skull, falls to the ground limp. The ship continues to approach. It looks like it will be close enough for grapple hooks to be thrown from crew members in another few seconds. If there's Martan, what would you like to do?
When I get up to deck, the first thing I shout in common is, "Wait, stop," and then right after in Pentoshi, what I hope I'm saying is, "Wait, stop."
Too late for that.
Okay, give me a persuasion test. Bonus in convince, if you have any. Or intimidate, if you want to use that.
An 8.
An 8. The shouts that you make to stop are heard on your ship. Based on what you see from the other ship, it's hard to tell if they heard you or if they didn't. They have not changed their actions at all. You still see a couple people approaching the man in the fine clothes. You see several other crew members readying their own bows and arrows, grapple hooks, and swords.
Okay. I shout out one more time because I, in Pentoshi, like the best I can, because it is a middling grasp on the language at best. Stop Peace. Trade.
Okay. I can let you make another persuasion test. The DC will be a little higher.
Okay. Ten.
10. It just seems like you see that the people on the other ship seem to understand that you're speaking to them in Puntoshi, but they also see 3 dead or dying of their own, and the general atmosphere on deck is like panic, and I mean, fleeing at this point they see is not an option. So they're kind of in the fight part of fight or flight response right now. So they are drawing their bows. They are preparing for a fight.
Radova, when he hears Martan shouting, is immediately gonna look back at the other ship, kind of gauge how much time he has before they start firing themselves, and is just gonna kind of duck and run over to Martan. What did they say? Did you understand any of what they're saying? What are we dealing with? Why do you want us to stop?
Well, my Pentosha is not very good. I know that they said something about slaves. These are people from the free cities. They're not something we can jump into. Fuck. All I want. We don't do slaves over here, but we've just started something bigger than I feel we were ready for. There can be no survivors.
Martan watches Radova, and I don't know if Martan remembers watching Radova grab the last surviving member of the pirates that were on the shore what feels like years ago now. Certainly feels like months ago. And the anger that Radova had when he realized that they had slaughtered civilians fleeing a boat. The fury that is across his face when he realizes that, when the dots connect, when he realizes the two thin man wearing the fine clothes and Martan's mention of slavers and slaves, that fury back then pales in comparison. And he looks back at the other ship and looks to Martan and kind of points. That man in the front there has been translating from me to them, and when they realized that we knew the flag they were flying, they turned on him in a heartbeat. Thali is doing his best to keep that man alive, and I suspect that he has no desire to be where he is, and in fact there are a number of people who don't desire to be where they are. I think I can do no survivors. And turns...
Just because of the hectic situation, I nod and back inside as quick as possible.
All right. You are now getting close enough I am not going to have us roll initiative. I'm going to do this a little bit more theater of the mind, but I will have everybody kind of take turns, and there will be other things happening as well. So as we approach the ship, grapnels are going to start being tossed across the ship. Arrows are about to start being loosed. I just want you guys to tell me what you would like to do. So, Thali, we'll have you go first, and then we'll do Radava.
Can I hear any of the conversation from down below?
Make a awareness notice test for me.
Okay.
Since they are on the deck, it would be a little bit more difficult to pick this up.
Eight.
You can tell that they're talking to each other down there. It's hard to tell exactly what, though.
Okay.
Yeah, from what you can tell, your instructions are the same.
Okay. Thali is going to find 3 new people and fire 3 new arrows.
All right.
If I'd also like to allow Yak to start moving around both ships.
Okay. Yeah, Yak is going to start. You make a couple quick whistles, and Yak knows to start making a larger circle in the area, so he starts circling both ships.
I might have just messed something up. Oh well. 22 with 1/6.
Okay.
Solid.
Ooh, this one's good. Uh, 10, 22, 28 with 3 6s.
I feel like there should be some sort of like Devil May Cry, like little letter as Thali like racks up hits.
That's
Solid, powerful, bloody, crippling wound. Smoking sick style.
25 with 2 6s.
Okay.
I'm trying to. At this point, Thali is crowd control, and he's trying to get people that are closest to, or who have weapons trained on, the man in finery. So, since you say this is theater of the mind, I'm saying like, if there's a bow trained on him, I'm firing at a bowman. If there is like a swordsman advancing on him, I'm firing at a swordsman, and I'm just boom, boom, boom. Crowd control, trying to get people who are focused on that guy.
All right. You are able to fire off another 3 shots in quick succession. There are, looks like 2 more people with swords approaching the man in finery. Your first 2 arrows take them down, and it looks like there are a few archers that are knocking arrows. The one that is closest to him, that seems to have him in their attention, you catch them in the arm, and the bow slips from their hand. And it looks like for the moment he is out of immediate danger.
Okay.
All right. Iron Hand, what would you like to do?
Yeah, that's perfect.
So the first thing that Iron Hand will do, as Martan flees back below decks, is turn to Thali and watch him fire 3 more arrows at 3 more people, and start to say something, and then shake his head. Nope, he's got it. Turns then to Captain Zerol. Captain, I'll not give orders to your men, but it seems to me like we've got slavers on our hands. Now, I don't know how you feel about that, but it pisses me off. Righteously so. Martan has ordered that we leave none of them alive. I would appreciate it if your men could handle that. And regardless of his answer, as soon as they are within range and one hook is made and they start to pull closer, Rodiva hops up on the railing and leaps across.
Okay. Go ahead and make an agility test for me. If you have any bonuses in jump, you can use
I have one in quickness.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Call it a running start.
Yeah. I was looking at athletics anyway.
That's not terrible. That's not bad.
He says before Rodiva makes a big splash.
Right. That is... That's a 21.
21, okay.
Okay, that's not
right.
terrible.
After...
Like it's like maybe 11.
Well, no sixes, but you know.
After you kind of relay the information about them being slavers to the captain and tell him that Martan has said no survivors, you see a grim look come across his face, and he kind of nods and says, "Andorin, signal no quarter. We won't be taking any of them alive." And you hear a horn blast, and the soldiers that are around you knocking their strings, readying their blades. You see a look of excitement and dread cross across their face as they prepare for what's about to happen. As the command is given, the horn is blown. A volley of arrows from both sides is released, as is a series of grappling hooks. So I'm just going to roll some arrow attacks real quick. So, Thali, this one is coming at you.
Okay.
That is a 10 to hit.
My combat defense is 7 + 1.
Okay, so that does hit with 1 degree, and that is going to deal 4 damage. What is your armor?
My armor rating?
Your armor rating, yes.
Hard leather, 3.
A 3? Alright, so that means that you are only going to take 1 damage to your health.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Rodiva, this one is coming at you.
Bless.
That is a 12 to hit.
Ooh, that hits.
Alright, what's your combat defense?
My combat defense is 10 + 1, and my armor rating is 7.
Ooh.
7. Okay.
Awesome.
So this arrow catches you in the shoulder, but glances off your coin armor. No damage.
Rodiva just kind of snarls at them.
Martan is no longer on deck. This one is going at the captain. Is a 14 to hit. So the captain. Okay. You see up on the main deck near the steersman, Captain Zeril Anderson takes a arrow to the upper thigh. Looks like it breaks through his mail, but not enough to do much serious damage. And you see a few other arrows catch members of your crew. Some of your crew members' arrows take down some of the members from the opposing crew. Radava, as the grapple hooks are released, as this arrow glances off of your arm, you grab tight to one of the ropes attached to the hook and just sling yourself across the opening between the two ships and roll onto the deck of the opposite ship and come up with both blades in your hands, ready to fight.
Correct.
Let's see. That is that round. Thali, what would you like to do next? Another 3?
Yeah. What are the numbers looking like on that ship?
You have taken out, at this point, you've taken down 6 yourself. It looks like the arrows from your crew members took out a couple more. At this point, it looks like a little more than half of them seem to be still standing.
Okay. Yeah. What's the situation with the man in finery?
The man in finery has scrambled to a corner of the ship where he is trying to go unnoticed. The men with blades near him have all been put down. There is an archer on his side of the ship, but they don't seem to be paying him any attention.
Okay.
Most of the rest of the people that are still up are kind of on the main section of the ship. In the middle.
Can I do anything with Yak?
You can command him to do something. I mean, he has statistics. I can... is there a way that I can show this to you? I think I can.
Peck somebody's eyes out.
Right.
Claw the face.
No.
Piss him off. Scare him.
I've shared his statistics with you in Roll20 if you wanted to pull them up. But effectively, the things that you'll need to know is he's got a 4 in agility. He has an ability to fight, but he's not going to be all that great at it. His skills are mostly awareness and agility.
I don't think I had access to anything, and then I closed it out. Would you share that to me again? All I could see was like his thumbnail.
Oh yeah, you probably don't have access to his actual character sheet.
Or his token.
Is there a way that I can show this to you?
Yeah, it just says bio and info, and it's just his.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just I can see the hawk.
I will. Okay, this should make it edited and controlled by you now. So now, can you see his character sheet?
It's loading. It's really thinking about this character sheet.
Loading.
I just like I guess
Loading.
I'm wondering if there are any like maneuvers that he can take, or if there's any. Does he have any abilities?
One thing that he can do, one benefit that he can provide you, is any time that he is adjacent to an opponent, you gain a test dice on any attacks made against that opponent.
Okay. Try sharing that with me one more time. I'm gonna close it and see if it'll.
I don't think I can like reshare it unless I undo it
sorry.
and reshare it. But
Yeah, dude. No. Oh, I see.
But if you wanted to know what he'd be, he has a 1 in fighting, so you'd be, rolling a single test dice to hit them.
No, I'm more excited about the benefit. So let's can I do maneuvers with him in addition to?
Yeah, if you
The
want
things
him
that
to
I'm
fly
normally
up
doing?
to an opponent and get your bonus on that opponent, yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
In
Let's
your
do
turn.
that.
Nice.
Let's get that man involved. So now I'm rolling 6 dice and taking away 5.
Yeah, you're rolling 6 test dice. So 6 test dice plus 5 bonus dice, taking away 5.
Got it.
Hell yeah. Give him the business.
I'm trying. All right, we got 29 with 1/6.
Jesus.
All right.
That's at the archer that is closest to. I'm gonna name this guy if we don't learn his name soon.
Fancy
The
clothes
man,
man.
in, the fan, and the man
The
in
man
finery.
in the fine raiment.
That's right.
You make a whistle to Yak, and he swoops down towards the man with the bow and kind of disorients him. He moves away from having the bow knocked and ready, and in this commotion, you are able to line up a shot that takes him down center of the chest. He just falls over limp.
Awesome. I'm going to now focus on the 2 people who are furthest away from Radava.
Okay. They would be on the far end of the ship, at the bow.
And I'm not going to worry. I'm going to try not to make a Yak become so OP. So I'm just going to kind of let him swoop down, do the thing, and then return to his small circles.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. 2. So stupid. 10, 18, and 6 is 24 with 1/6.
24 with 1/6. All right.
Someone from the other end of the ship, and then one final. 1, 2. Almost missed that one. 16 and 9 is 25 with 2 6s.
Okay. Those 2 arrows, you see, there are 3 men up, still standing, up at the bow of the ship, and you are able to line up 2 shots that catch them, one in the stomach, one kind of in the upper chest, and they, while still alive, are out of commission.
Okay.
All right. That takes us to Radava. You have just rolled onto deck, and there are several people right in front of you. What would you like to do?
Is there anybody between me and the man in finery?
You're kind of in the middle of the ship. He has crawled over to your left. There are a couple of people in between you and he.
Great. I am going to turn towards them, and I would like to use a combining attack to combine a divided and 2 weapon attack to hit the 2 of them closest to me.
Okay. Let me, if you would, go ahead and read the rules on that one, just so that I don't have to go find it.
Yeah, so combine attack is combine a divided and 2 weapon attack. Divide the test dice as with divided attack, but add your offhand weapon modifier to all successful damage. Divided attack. Make an attack against 2 more targets. Roll a test as usual and divide your test dice result at your discretion to test against each target's combat defense. Since I'm only targeting 2, it will be a normal attack roll divided by 2 to go to test against each of their combat defenses.
Okay, so how are you dividing up your test dice?
If I am reading this correctly, I think what happens is I roll the test, and then whatever the result is, we have, and that's what both of them test against.
Okay, that works.
Or if I were attacking 3 people, I would take that number divided by 3, or, it doesn't specify that there is a limit.
The way that it's broken up is that you are dividing up the test dice for each one. So you pick...
It does say that. Interesting.
So, yeah,
okay.
The way that it works is you're picking how many test dice you want to use on each target. So the first target you say, I want to use... I don't. Let me look at your combat here real quick. So you got a 4 in fighting with a 1 in short blades. So you've got 4 test dice and 1 bonus dice to use. So you can do 2 test die on one and then 2 test die on 1 bonus on another, or you can do, any other combination of that. You can do 1 and 1 and 3 and
yeah. I'm gonna just split it down the middle, do 2 and 2.
Okay. And throw the bonus on 1.
Yeah, with the Castle Forge stiletto in one hand, in my main hand with my lordly dirk as my offhand for that fresh +3 bonus.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's do it. Go ahead and make those rolls.
Right. So here is the first. So that is with my 2 test dice and 1 bonus dice, a 12 with 2 6s.
Oh shit!
My second is not as good. It is a 7 with a 4 and a 3.
7 with a 4 and a 3. Okay. How much damage is coming in on that first hit? So, well, let me say. You said you got a 12 on that first hit?
Yeah, that is at baseline. That is 5 damage with piercing 3 and an offhand bonus of +3.
Okay, that is enough. All right.
That's a lot of damage.
Without the bonuses from your critical hit, that was still enough to kill him. So immediately in front of you, you see a man with an axe and a shield, and seems to be wearing some mail armor. A little bit more well equipped for combat than most of the people that you see on the ship. But with the quick roll onto deck, he barrels towards you, and you are able to knock the shield out of the way with your dirk, and with the stiletto, you slip right in under his armpit and just slide the dagger in between his ribs, in and out, and he falls gasping for breath, no longer a threat. All right, and then you move over to the next person. You said you got a 7?
Yes.
And then that's still with 5 damage, 3 piercing, and 3 offhand?
Correct.
All right, so the offhand goes straight to your base damage. So your base damage is now an 8 with a piercing 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still enough for this guy. This person is not wearing any armor. They just have a short blade and a small buckler shield on their hand. This one, as he swings at you, you clip his arm with one of your blades, and then with the other one, you slide it into his back as his back is turned. And he falls to the ground in front of you, crawls for a few steps, and then falls flat on his face.
As Radava is working his way through these men, he is being very careful to step and move in such a way that he positions himself more and more towards the man in finery. And when a break presents itself, whether that be next turn or even if it's after Thali hits somebody, he will step and plant himself between these sailors and that man with his back to the man in finery.
Okay. You make the movements to kind of impose yourself between any of the remaining people on the ship and the man in finery. All right, that will end that round. So we'll do another round of arrows. This
Hell yeah,
one,
arrows.
first one will come to Thali again. That is
Arrows.
That's right.
11 to hit.
Yeah.
So 1 degree of success, another 4 damage, reduced by 3, so another 1 damage to your health.
Okay.
And next one at Thali. I mean, not Thali, just did Thali. This one is at Radava. This is a 10. Does a 10 hit you?
I have a combat defense of 10 plus 1, so...
All right, so it does not. You feel an arrow fly right by you, barely missing you. And then one for the captain. Uh-oh. That is a 16 to hit. That is 2 degrees. Okay. With that arrow, you see that kind of pierces the chainmail armor a little bit more in the captain's midsection, and you hear him grunt in pain. Standing, but looks a little hurt. And then another volley of arrows from either side. You see now the balance seems to be shifting in your favor. There are fewer opponents to hit and more of your men than there are of theirs. So the arrow volley on your side seems to have a lot more of an effect than their arrow volley back does. That being said, that brings us back up to the top with Thali.
Hey, it's me again. You know the drill. What are we looking at numbers-wise?
Really a few more than a handful at this point.
Okay. Well, I guess I can try and get rid of either a few or a handful. I will, situation on the back side, on the opposite side, it's mostly archers. You said there was a man with an axe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's still a few axe wielders still up.
There was a man with an axe.
Right, I remember that guy.
Not many other
So
people
I guess
will.
I was trying to get the lay of, like, I guess I'm still just trying to get the people farthest away from Radava and let him
Deal with those
handle-
up close.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, he looks like he's got a few people kind of right on top of him, but there are 3 people that are not right on top of him that you could target.
Tell you what, I would like to take down 2 archers. Or I would like to fire at 2 archers if there are 2 archers left, which I think there are 2 arrows coming every round, at least 3. So I want to take out 2 archers, and then for my 3rd shot, I might do something different.
Okay.
So let me whistle at my boy Yak, get him to help me with
Get in
one.
on this first one. All right.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
1. That's right. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Heck yeah.
This is among my, I was gonna say poorer rolls, but it's all fine. 26 with 2 6s.
26 with 2 6s. All right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Technically on the poor side, but not really.
Yeah, you see Yak swoop down at your call and rake this person across the face with his talons. You see him scream in pain and drop his bow and reach up to his now bloody face. While he is doing that, your arrow catches him in the chest.
Nice.
And pins him to the deck.
Awesome. My next shot is a 25 with 1/6.
25 with 1/6. All right. The next archer is lining up a shot, looks like, and your arrow catches him just as he is about to release the shot. The arrow that he had ready goes wide, falling into the ocean, and his body falls limp to the deck as well.
Okay. For the third shot, is there anybody near that, you called it some word I'd never heard that meant catapult. Trebuchet, that was not the word you used.
Mangonel is what I used, yeah.
That was my 7th guess. Is there anybody near that thing?
One person.
Okay. I'm gonna try and fire an arrow to temporarily, at least for the purposes of this combat, disable that device.
Okay. I think. Okay. Go ahead and make your shot like you would normally. The DC on this one is going to be a 24.
24?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here we go. See if we can do it. I think we can do it. Let's see. Here is 10. Here is 10. How about a 35?
All right.
With 2 6s.
Okay.
You said roll as normal, so I got those extra dice back.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, with that roll, you're looking for a way to disable a catapult. There is no way to do that by shooting an arrow at it. You can shoot it full of arrows, and it's wood and rope. You're not going to do any real damage to it with a bunch of arrows.
No, and
you would
real
need something.
damage was certainly not the goal. Like maybe severing a rope that would keep it from being used.
So what happens instead is you need something with some weight to smash down on this thing and render it useless. And you see that there are now unattended lines connected to one of the long bars for the sail of the ship, and you are able to see, okay, I know I've been on ships before. I know that if I sever this line, I can get that beam to swing around, and it should catch this catapult.
Awesome.
You fire your arrow, and it severs that line as it's kind of snapped taut, and it immediately swings wide and catches the person in front of the mangonel full in the chest, and you see it pin them to the body of this wooden monstrosity at the bow of the ship, and you hear just a sickening crunch as he is pinned, and there is no scream.
Got it.
Brutal.
Crunch. Okay. That's
that is
that's
your turn. Radava, you have about 5 people in front of you right now.
Yeah, Radava's gonna again, his feet are planted. He has placed himself between them and this person. he kind of idly spins the lordly dirk before kind of adjusting his grip and his knuckles. Kind of he's holding them hard enough that his knuckles are white. He's pissed. He kind of turns really, just very briefly, very brusquely. If you want to stay alive, you stay small and you stay behind me. And then launches himself at 2 more of these gentlemen.
All right. Are you going to do the same thing you did last turn?
Same exact thing.
All right. Go ahead and make your rolls. Let me know what you get.
That's disappointing. That's a 3 with a 2 and a 1 for the first hit. And that's a 5 with the other for the 3 and the 2.
Okay.
That's a James.
Counting back in. Okay. The first slash is deflected by the man's shield in front of you. The second slash catches the man in the chest, drawing a little bit of blood, but does not seem to slow him down all that much. After making these cuts, you do notice that the 2 kind of farthest from you turn and start to make their way to the entrance to below decks. They are turning and running in the opposite direction of the fight, heading below decks.
Radivus sees that, and in the flurry of what is happening, he's deflected on the one hand. He catches the other guy and turns to crane his neck to Thali. Thali, do not let them get inside that boat. I mean, screaming hoarse up to Thali, while keeping these 2 occupied.
Thali says, done.
Okay. That's the end of that. They do not have any more archers on deck, so there will be no volley from them this turn. Instead, those 2 are going to make it to the entrance to the below deck area. You'll have 1 turn before they can enter it. And there are still 3 men on deck. They are right at you, Thali, so they are going to make their attacks.
Radava.
I mean Radava. I do mean Radava.
The other one.
So this first one is going to come up to you with his short sword, and that is a 11 to hit, which I think is... Does that just hit?
Is just hits.
Okay, and that is going to be 5 damage coming at you. What is your armor rating?
7.
Seth. All right. The first one comes at you with an angry, long, curved sword and swings at you, and you catch it in the arm, and the coin armor takes the brunt of the blow. You feel the weight of the impact, but no damage.
By the power of money.
The second one is going to take his swing. This is better. That is a 14, which I think is 1 degree, which same amount of damage is not going to do anything again. The third one is going to take his swing. That is a 13 to hit. So yeah, your armor is really just holding strong here. All 3 of these men make swings at you that impact you, but your armor holds up, does not break, and you take no damage. All right, Thali, what would you like to do?
The 2 guys running into the ship. When I use double shot, it's the same as my regular shot, but -1 test dice. Triple shot is -2 test dice.
Correct.
So I think I'm gonna gamble with it and double shot. I'm just trying to keep them from going below deck.
Okay.
So I will double shot, and I will have Yak swing down there and try and get in their faces.
Okay. Effectively, for that first shot, then you don't need to remove a test dice.
That's correct.
It's just a full roll on that first one.
Jesus.
Nasty.
Like good nasty or like bad nasty?
Yeah, I mean, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Is this like the nasty and the pasty, or is this like...
Yeah, this is the past nastification. Right here we've got 10. Right here we've got 10. And right here we've got 14.
34?
11 and 3, yes. 34.
All right, 34. As the two... Well, go ahead and roll your second one, too.
Sure.
One of those men is dead. Were there any sixes in that 34?
2?
That seems on par with everything else you've done.
I think 3. 2 or 3. This one's not as good. 3, 4, 5. This is a 9, 24 on that second one.
24 on the second one.
No
All right.
6s at all.
Oh, damn.
He can get to a 24 without getting a single 6.
Right?
Yep. As the two are approaching the doorway that leads down below decks, the first one reaches out to grasp the handle, and your arrow catches him in the throat, and he looks confused and falls over to the side. His companion quickly scrambles, tries to grasp at the door, and his companion's body is kind of in front of it. He's able to push it out of the way, and as the door gets fully open, your arrow catches him in the back and lays him out across his companion.
Okay, cool.
Nasty.
That's me.
All right, Radava.
Radava is going to again do a combining attack. This time, however, the first attack I am going to roll with 1 test dice. The second I'm going to roll 3 test dice and 1 bonus, as Radava is using the first as a feinting maneuver on one opponent before turning and jamming his weapon into the second.
All right, go ahead and make those rolls.
First one, the throwaway is a 4.
A 4, okay.
And then better than last time, but not much. Is a 9.
A 9, okay. And we said, 8 damage with 3 piercing?
That's the one.
Okay. Your fainting attack draws the attention of the man to your left, and he goes to parry a blade that is no longer there. You quickly duck under that blade, and the man to your right, you slide up and quickly jab him through his mail in the stomach. Draw your sword, or draw your blade out of the mail, and you see that the wound is leaking blood. He seems hurt, but still up.
Respectable.
After that, the third man begins to make a break for the now open door leading down below deck. Go ahead.
Radava is, as he withdraws his dagger from the other man's stomach, is going to turn and, like, really quick, just, like, gesture at the guy running and flash his dagger in the sunlight to catch Thali's eye and point it out without taking his attention off of the two men that he's fighting currently.
Okay. The man to your right is bleeding and hurt, still up. The man to your left is unharmed, other than a small slash across his chest. But these are the only two up on deck still, other than this guy running for the open door. With the commotion that has happened on deck, you haven't really been able to take stock of where everything else kind of is. And as the person makes it to that open doorway, they kind of stop in the opening, and you see a long, sharp edge of fine steel come bursting through his back as he is standing in the doorway. Behind him, coming through the doorway with a spear in his hands, is a man who seems barely able to stand, let alone hold a spear. Tall, with dark skin, and a long streak of what looks like white war paint on his face. He's got a black ponytail with the tips dyed red. The rest of his head is clean shaven. Very dark skin. Somewhat emaciated, but it looks like he's held a spear before. It looks like he's had strength in his arms before. But at this moment, very weak. And after removing his spear from this man in front of him's chest, he collapses to the deck in front of him. Thali, since you were watching this man, you see that the person holding the spear still has his hands and feet manacled together, but you also see broken boards where it looks like these manacles were ripped from a wall.
Amazing.
Fuck yeah.
And I think that is where we're going to end the session for the night.
Cool.
So that's where we'll call it. There's still a little bit of open-ended stuff there at the end with the ship, but I think it's best for us to call it right there.